are you on Shantamar or Chanberry right now?
We're yeah, it's actually Chanberry. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it. Chanberry, Rue Chanberry, according to David. So right. Chanberry and Fairbrook.
Well, just to let folks know that it's just south of Pomerado Road, and it butts up against the Miramar Air Station land. And I don't know if that's burned already or not, but that's obviously a big concern there. That's probably fueling this blaze. But it's also a kind of a cul-de-sac area in there, so be careful, Heather.
Thank you.
We sure will. Thanks, Graham.
Thank you, Heather. We're going to go back to Jeff Zevely now, who's in another part of Scripps Ranch for some more live coverage. And like Heather, he has structures behind him fully involved in flames.
In my pocket, yeah. Barbara Lee, and if back at the station, if they can make it so I don't hear myself talking, that would be a great help, because I'm hearing an echo effect right now. This house continues to go up in flames, and firefighters continue to head in. They've got at least 8 or 10 engines in this area. And I'll tell you something that troubles me. Why don't we take an about face and show the trucks back here, but then pan up, and you'll see that the flames are coming from every direction. You see that the flames are now, that's where we drove in from, and now that there are flames coming over that hillside as well. So I don't really know what the strategy is here. We talked to a captain from the fire department a few minutes ago, and he's really calm, to tell you the truth. He says he's been doing this for 30 years, and they're just doing what they can. They're very heroic, but yet methodical. This house is gone. There's nothing they can do for it. It is on the corner of Claret Court and Handrich, and the address is 11,965 Claret Court. So those people, well, their lives are going to be devastated by this. The firefighters continue to head in, as I mentioned, and right now it's just kind of a touch-and-go situation. The flames coming really from at least 3 different directions right now, so everyone's trying to stay safe and do what they can. Back to you.
All right, thanks for that update, Jeff. And we have Jeff Goldberg in the studio with us now. We were just speaking to you via the telephone a little while ago, and you had to basically bail out of where you were because the smoke got so thick in the air. And this was an area close to the station. Was it over on Balboa?
It was Claremont Mesa, just west of the 805. There was a small fire in that area. It looked as though by the time we got there, it was pretty strong, and by the time we were clearing out, it looked like they had gotten a hold of it. It was sort of in an area that was right next to the entrance of the freeway, almost an isolated little spot. Let's take a look at some video here that we shot not too long ago. Basically, this is evacuations happening right around here at the station at Kearney Mesa. Police officers going door to door to businesses, telling people time to get out, no time for gathering any belongings, time to go. In Claremont Mesa, heading west, as you can see right there, traffic is bumper to bumper. This was about 10 minutes ago, so I would imagine the situation is very similar to what it was not too long ago. Obviously, people trying to do the same thing. Everyone's trying to get out, and this is the fire that I called you from not too long ago. Again, this is when it was going pretty strong. I can't tell you what it was like, you know, at this very moment, but it looked as though when we left about 15 minutes ago that it was a little bit better controlled than it is right now. However, the thing is that it's right near a lot of homes just west of the 805, just south of Claremont Mesa. So certainly a lot of homes right by where this fire was taking place. Now, there was a little bit of a wall in between where the fire was taking place and the homes, and certainly there was a lot of hope that that might keep the fire from jumping the street and going to the homes. But of course, we don't know that for sure. Now, a lot of residents obviously very concerned about this situation. Let's take a listen right now to a man named Bruce Ragland.
Our lives and memories are in the house, of course, but, you know, fire is the ultimate enemy, you know? What else do you do, you know? I'm sick in my stomach about it. I don't know whether to run, scream, or cry, you know, so I'm just waiting for my niece to pull up so we're all together so we can probably go to Qualcomm for safety or something. But it's just, it's horrifying. It really is.
You're panicked.
Yeah, you're seeing a calm panic right here, but inside I feel like I'm going to get sick right this second. Now, I'm on the verge of crying. Yeah, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
What's your name, sir?
That's Bruce.
Okay, that's Bruce Ragland, who works with the Padres. He may or may not look familiar to you. And certainly there was a lot of range of emotions. You heard right there from Bruce, obviously very upset, very concerned about the whole situation. We spoke with a couple of people who were not too far away from him who said, well, there's nothing we can do. We can only hope that it works out for the best. And of course, you know, this situation happening here, it's obviously a little bit closer to an urbanized area, so there may be some sort of hope that it could be a little bit more contained. There's not as much brush, of course, in that particular area than there may be further north where we're seeing a lot of the problems happening. So, you know, a lot of people really don't know. It just seems, the amazing part about this situation is that it just seems to popping up everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, we're going outside the station and there's smoke everywhere and it just doesn't seem to be coming to an end.
805 is the stand the firefighters wanted to make, and that fire is technically on the other side of the 805.
Yeah.
And your hope is also tempered by the fact a lot of old homes in there with presumably shake shingle roofs. So we pray the best for the firefighters there.
Absolutely,
Thanks,
absolutely.
Thanks for that
Yeah,
valuable
we'll be back
information.
with more.
We're going to go to our phone lines now in Phil Constantine, where we understand a plane is making some sort of an emergency landing on the 163. What's happening, Phil?
Well, the officers have told us that there's a plane in the center divider of 163 just south of Balboa. We don't know if it landed there, had to make an emergency landing, or missed, went off the end of the runway there at Montgomery Field, but it's there on the 163 south of Balboa. Officers are there at the scene. The pilot is out of the vehicle, and they've got the paramedics en route just to check everything out. So just, another one of the amazing events going on today. And again, we don't know why it happened, but it is there.
Now, I would imagine, Phil, that I'm just guessing, maybe we reported this earlier, that Montgomery Field is shut down, is it not?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure if it is. I know that we're just a couple of blocks away from there. Channel 8, you're right in between us here. And I would say the overhead visibility is, maybe, a couple thousand feet, if that. So it would be very hard to see through there. So we don't really know why this plane was in the air or how it got to be where it was right now.
All right. Well, there was a plane down on the Highway 163 right by Montgomery Field about 10 years ago, but that was when the winds were blowing westerly in a normal direction.
Right.
It's odd that we would have a situation like this, but again, it adds to already a bizarre situation and another area to avoid. If you don't have to be out on the road, this is a reminder, please don't go out there. You don't want to be.
No, it doesn't sound like there were any injuries there. We should point out once again the paramedics are on their way to the scene just as a precaution, which is pretty amazing when you consider the circumstances that everything seems to have turned out all right. To give you an update on the Cedars fire now, over 100,000 acres that fire is, and well over 100 homes have been lost there.
All right, one of the evacuation centers, I think the main evacuation center for the Tierra Santa area is Qualcomm Stadium. Ironically, 24 hours from now, thereabouts, there is supposed to be a football game. One would imagine that football game is now very much in jeopardy. Beth Shelburne is there, is evacuation center. What's going on, Beth?
Well, Graham, there's probably about 1,000 people here. There's really not a very big crowd, but there's a steady flow of people coming into Qualcomm Stadium. Many people have masks on because the air quality down here is not great. Lots of people walking around, just sort of milling around with their pets. A lot of dogs down here. I've got two homeowners with me, Irv King and Shirley King, brother and sister, and you guys were evacuated from San Carlos. Tell me what happened.
Well, it was about 1:20. I was on the telephone calling to check on my friends in Tierra Santa and Kearney Mesa when the police car drove up the street with his loudspeaker saying, "The fire is a mile away, evacuate immediately," and so we took off, and here we are.
And to come here to Qualcomm.
And to come to Qualcomm Stadium, yeah.
And you guys have been here for how long?
24 years. And so this is the second fire that we've experienced. About 10 years ago, Cowles Mountain burned, and we lost a roof.
That's right. Are you worried about your home right now?
Yes, definitely, because it was coming over the hill from out of Lakeside up through Santee and into San Carlos over the Mission Hills Mountain, and so it could very well be approaching that area now. So
tell me what the neighborhood was like as you were evacuating. Was there a lot of smoke in the area?
Absolutely, just like here, smoke everywhere, very dark. Everybody rushing out of their houses to take everything they could and pulling out of the driveways and heading down the street, a traffic jam down our quiet little street.
Well, we're certainly glad that you were able to make it out safe, and good luck to you. Thanks so much for talking to us very much. Irv and Shirley King, just one of many people that are here at Qualcomm right now, just hoping that their homes are okay. It's sort of a strange calm here at Qualcomm. Many people sort of in a holding pattern, milling around. Starbucks is providing coffee. They also have food and facilities here for people that need to use the restroom. Everyone just kind of waiting for some information from officials. Back to you guys.
Beth, are people actually going in the stadium, or are they just kind of milling around the parking lot? Have they opened it up? What's going on? All right, she can't hear us. That's Beth Shelburne reporting. And obviously breaking news situations like that happen.
We have Jamie Sire in the studio with us right now. You've been outside on site reporting on what you've been seeing. Jamie, normally in our sports department, but everybody's in the news department today, let me tell you. What's the latest from where you've been, Jamie?
Well, we were up on north of Claremont Mesa Boulevard off the 163, and the most alarming thing to me up there was that we were up there and we were right by the Harley-Davidson dealership, and as you can see right there, 70 yards from flames, there's just this flammable propane gas. They said about a couple thousand pounds of each. Then back behind a couple of the hotels, you know, as there's the Ramada, the Residence Inn, the Hampton Inn, all deserted. Right behind there, there's some storage areas. As you can see, huge flames erupting back there, and firefighters on the scene trying to get that taken care of. There's also a Cubic Corporation up there with bottled methane on hand, another couple thousand pounds of that. So very, very intense and immediate danger up there. They're trying to get a handle on that. And as we're driving through, I mean, Hampton Inn, sprinklers are on full blast. And as we're driving down Claremont Mesa Boulevard, absolutely no one there. Police officers blocking off the area so that no one can come in. And I mean, we were the only ones driving down that road.
The only time you'll ever see a view like that is at probably 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's quite a very busy street in Kearny Mesa. That is amazing. How old were those pictures?
That's just about 5 minutes ago. So
the fire is still very active in that area.
Definitely, and that's only a couple minutes from where we're at right now.
Right.
So, I mean, it only took us a couple minutes to get back, so very, very scary.
Well, we are here at Channel 8, of course, our studios are in Kearny Mesa, and we're trying to figure out if we're staying or going at this point, because many of the businesses, as you just pointed out, in this region, including other television stations, have been evacuated, so we're on pins and needles ourselves.
Waiting for the word.
We certainly are.
Thank you for that update, Jamie. Andrea Nakano, local Andrea Nakano, is reporting. She's live in Claremont now. What's the latest on the situation there, Andrea?
Well, there's no evacuation order here, but people are getting ready just in case. The fire is approaching the 805 interstate. So here are some people, a family, watering down their home, cutting down the pine tree. And joining me now is Randy Roa. Randy, can you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing here? Why did you guys decide to take this step?
Well, we were just watching the news at my buddy's house and saw that actually heard that the fire was crossing the 805, realized it was close to his father's house, and figured we'd come over here and help out. It's his father's property, and you know, they've lived here for 30 years almost. So it's like, why not come over and help out if it's that close? Do whatever we can, you know, even if it is knock down a couple pine trees or water the roof, you know, as close as it might get.
Now, we were talking about this earlier, but this fire started way northeast.
Right.
Did you ever expect that you would be in this situation?
Not at all. Well, actually, when I woke up this morning and I saw the haze and all the yellow, I was kind of wondering what was going on, because I had noticed that there was fires in Orange County in L.A. Had no idea. Turned on the news and saw that the fire was actually in Ramona, and I don't know how many hours it got over here. That's scary. That's a long way in a short time, you know.
Now, the fire's not anywhere close to here, but can you describe your pool for me?
Oh, the pool? Oh, the pool is covered in ashes. It doesn't even look like a pool anymore. It looks like a slate, you know, floor or whatever. It's completely black across the way. And then if you move some of the top ashes, you can see to the bottom, and it's completely covered also. So it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this.
I think that's how most of people in San Diego feel. Well, there are no evacuation orders here, like I said, but I talked to the sheriff earlier, and he said, don't wait for an evacuation order. If you feel like you are in danger, just go ahead and get out of the neighborhood. Back to you.
Well, that is the best advice right now. And we want to give our viewers an advisory. If you're watching in the Fairbanks Ranch and Rancho Santa Fe area, don't want to panic you by any shape, matter, or form. However, Sheriff Bill Collender is warning that if the wind shifts, and right now it's more or less blowing in a southwesterly direction, the cedar fire could affect the Fairbanks Ranch and the Rancho Santa Fe areas, and obviously there's a lot of fuel in both of those areas.
Yeah, and as Graham mentioned, we're not trying to scare you, but finding out earliest warning will be the biggest favor to you at this point, so you can at least start to take some precautions, because everyone else that we've seen in a panicked mode, throwing things in their car, speeding down the street, the reason why they were left in that circumstance is because they had no warning at all. So we are simply trying to provide you with ample warning. We're going to go to Heather Lucas once again. It's Scripps Ranch for the latest there. Heather?
Yeah, Barbara Lee, we're just monitoring what's happening here on Rue Chambéry behind us. We've got firefighters working a few houses here. We're hearing a lot of pops coming from one of those garages. Oh, there you see it, right there.
something's popping, something is really exploding in that garage. So we've got about 5 houses, from what David Goffredson has been able to determine here on Rue Chambéry, that are engulfed in flames right now. And again, this is the cross street on this is Fairbrook, and we were on Fairbrook a while ago showing you the devastation there. Joining me now is Troy Gibson with the San Diego Police Department. Troy is out here. He's able to talk to us. The firefighters are way too busy right now. Troy's going to talk to us about what the police department is trying to do to help out everyone. You're actually here to make sure there isn't any looting going on. Is that right, Troy?
Exactly. We've had dozens of off-duty officers volunteer their time to come out here on days off to assist with evacuations. Right now, we're still doing numerous active evacuations on the north side of Pomerado Road where the fire is burning now.
What are you finding? Any problems out there as far as looting going on?
So far, we haven't encountered any, and we haven't encountered any problems with people evacuating. Everybody's been really cooperative. They understand the urgency of this, and we're doing the best that we can with the resources that we have out here.
Is it overwhelming, Troy? I mean, this is just every which way you look, it seems that there are flames, and it just keeps getting worse. The winds are fueling those flames.
It's absolutely overwhelming. I've been on several streets through this neighborhood, and just complete blocks of houses burned down, and there's still active fire on streets all over up here.
What would you tell people watching at home right now? I mean, obviously just stay tuned to the TV, watching their own neighborhood, but just to play it smart.
Exactly. Just, I mean, you're going to have to stay out of the area. There's no way to even get in the area anymore. And Pomerado Road, which is a main thoroughfare through here, is completely overrun with fire, so it'd be senseless to try and come in here.
Okay, Troy Gibson, thanks so much for joining us. And right now we're giving you a live look at another, I believe, a shake shingle roof going up in flames here. This one just started I'd say about 10 minutes ago here on Rue Chambéry. So the firefighters are trying to save as many homes on this street as they can, because we've seen nearby streets that are just devastated, and they weren't able to do too much over there because the flames came through so quickly, so much wind. But they're trying to do everything they can right now. And I apologize for having to put on the mask, and I hope you can hear me okay, but we've been out here now for, I believe, going on 5 hours. And so David and Scott and I just grabbed some masks from Troy, because you're starting to feel the smoke, and it's so thick out here that it's getting a little bit harder to breathe, and you're more out of breath. So it's a tough situation out here. David's got something he wants to share.
Okay, I have a bit of a rundown of some of the streets in the area, and there's just too many to name the individual addresses, but I can give you total numbers for the individual streets. Semelon, and these numbers are about 2 hours old. I had 10 houses on Semelon. I had 13 houses on Birch Bluff Avenue. Fairbrook, this number is about an hour old. 20 houses on Fairbrook Road. Grainwood Way, I have 4 houses. That number's about an hour old. Thornbrush Court, 5 houses there. Every house on Thornbrush Court, it's either Thornbrush or Thornbrush, sorry. Every home on that street destroyed, and there's 5 homes on that street. Oak Fort Place, 10 homes destroyed. That's every home on Oak Fort Place. Rue Vincennes, 3 homes on that street. Rue Cannes, 1 home. Rue Park, 1 home. Rue Finisterre, 25 homes. Rue Rivière Verte, 2 homes. Rue Chambéry, 5 homes. That's the street we're on right now. That's it. We've also heard that animal control, maybe you said this earlier, animal control is on scene trying to take care of some animals, and utility crews are on scene trying to shut off the gas at every home that has damage to it.
So, David, now we're way over 100 homes, right, for this area. I mean, what are we up to on that total?
It's from us. This is on Claret Court, 11,965. This house burned in front of our eyes in the last 30 or 40 minutes. Nothing can be done to save that house. The house next door to it as well, also completely burned down. Firefighters are doing all they can, but as you can see, they're just really up against it today, and there's not a lot they can do.
Hey, Jeff, once again, I want to pinpoint where you are. Claret Court, is that where you are right now?
That's right, Graham. We were at 11,965 Claret Court, and just up from us, The cross street to that is the 11,000 block of Handrich, Handrich.
Right. So clearly the fire burning on both sides of Palmerado Road, and what a disaster this is.
Yeah, and Graham, one last note, if you will. I'm kind of in a time warp out here myself.
That's right.
What do we have, a 2:45?
Yep.
And let me show you what the sun looks like. It's as if it's getting dark out here. We're surrounded by so much smoke. And you start feeling a little claustrophobic after a while when you see the fire closing in around you. But we're just trying to get the information out to the viewers and do the best we can. And like I said, it gets a little hard to keep coming up with new words to describe it when it's something you've never seen before.
Don't worry about it, Jeff. Keep that mask on. A lot of smoke around there, and keep those goggles on as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Graham.
And really no words needed. The pictures, unfortunately, tell the whole story, as will this next picture. Heather Lucas taking us back to another home in flames. Heather?
Yeah, Barbara Lee, we're out here on Rue Chambéry again. I actually just talked to a firefighter who came up and came up to me and made a point and said, "Are you noticing a pattern here? Which homes are going up and which homes aren't?" And he said it's the shake shingle roofs, and he didn't sound too optimistic about being able to stop what's happening here right now. And so he's basically saying that if you have a shake shingle roof, moral of the story out of this fire, you might want to think about getting another type of roof, because that's certainly what we're seeing right now, is that we're seeing tile roofs being spared. So there'll be a home on either side of a home engulfed in flames looking pretty good. But that's exactly what's happening right now. So we're out here with the firefighters. You can see this home about 15-20 minutes ago just had a little bit of flame on the top of the roof, and right now we're actually going to talk to a resident here. I hate to interrupt my train of thought here, but you live in this neighborhood.
I do. I live about 3 blocks from here.
Okay, and have you been down there, sir, yet?
We've not been down. We evacuated, I don't even want to speculate a guess at what time. It may have been like 10 o'clock or something like that, 9:30. You know, we're sitting at home watching the TV, and you've got forestry guys looking at little spots of fires about 5 miles from here. Nothing on the TV. We're looking out at a wall of smoke, and so we decided to start loading our vehicles. And maybe 15-20 minutes later, the police came around and said, mandatory evacuation, please evacuate your homes.
Are you blown away by what you've been seeing? I take it you've been watching the TV. Are you just amazed by how quickly it's gone?
It's devastation. You know, I was stationed out here in the Navy back in 1970 when we had the big fire from that came from the Cleveland National Forest all the way out to El Cajon. My recollection was a couple 100,000 acres and houses out in El Cajon. You know, we never dreamed that anything like this could happen around here.
So you came back to try and check on your home, and so you're down on this street right here on Chalmont?
It's sort of back behind. If you go directly, like diagonally across the pool area, down below there's a canyon. So you have to make like 3 quick turns to get down there. But it's, as the crow flies, it's maybe 300 or 400 yards from here.
Okay, so grateful you guys got out okay and that you're safe.
Well, we're happy. We're in a motel or a hotel, and you know, we'll stay there until things get sorted out, and then we'll just move on. We'll just deal with it.
Best of luck to you. We sure appreciate you talking to us today, okay? And David Gottfredson was just mentioning to me that we've got another resident who's apparently come back to his street here. This man walking with the firefighter, he's come back to try and get some medication. So that's what we're hearing. So that's another issue, is that we've got residents who are probably needing certain things to exist right now, and they're having to come back, if it's safe, to get that. So that's what we believe is happening with that gentleman right there. So a lot going on out here. It doesn't seem to be slowing down too much right now.
All right, thanks for that report, Heather. And incidentally, medication is on the list of the bare essentials. If you need to get some stuff out of your home, just take the things that you absolutely need, and any medications that you rely on, of course, will be included on that list for people that have time to pack up some stuff before they leave their homes.
Good advice. I'm flipping through the Thomas Guide. We're going to go to Highway 163, just west of Montgomery Field. I believe Jeff Goldberg is there where the plane went down. Jeff, tell us.
Yeah, Graham, I have this because I do not have my earpiece in. But yes, the plane went down. This is just, this is basically what they're telling us, a result of the smoky conditions. Take a look down the freeway right now. the 163 is closed. Here's what happened. Apparently, a man, a 50-year-old man, was on the approach to Montgomery Field in a single-engine plane. He could not make his initial approach because of the high winds, tried to circle around, made a second approach, but he got caught in the Santa Ana winds, apparently, and he set the plane down. Here's some video of the actual plane, and he set the plane down on the northbound lane of the 163 just south of Balboa, okay? Then he was going down the highway in the plane. The plane actually got caught on the center divide and started to get on fire while he was still in the plane. It came to a stop somewhere on the divide. He was able to get out of the plane, and basically the firefighters arrived on the scene and put the fire out. Amazingly, this man walked away with a single scratch. We don't know where he was coming from. We don't know any more details about the situation of his flight. All we know, it was a single-engine plane. He was trying to land. He had some problems with the Santa Ana winds and had to land on 163. Of course, 163 is closed, so certainly there were no interaction with any cars, which is obviously thankful for the man and everyone else involved. But he could not get to Montgomery Field. And, of course, what police are telling us right now is that this is a result of the conditions, of the fire conditions. He couldn't really see. He got caught in these high winds, and he was just trying to land, and he got caught up. And luckily, as we said, he got out of there with just a scratch, and he was getting out of the plane, this is worth repeating, while it was still on fire. So really an unbelievable situation. And we spoke with some people on the side of the road, and we spoke with the CHP officers, and there really is a sense of just chaos right now, and we don't want to overemphasize it because you don't want to say anything that's not true in any way, but people seeing all this fire and the smoke, and it's happening everywhere, and then something like this happens, there is a feeling of being overwhelmed. And of course the police officers say that they have to rush to this emergency just like every other emergency, but they know that it's been a very tough day for them and everybody involved in this entire situation. So certainly a very chaotic situation, not only right here but throughout the county right now.
Hey, Jeff, you can't hear us, can you?
No, I can hear you. I have a little CB right here.
Hey, another victim of the fire, this one just airborne. Maybe if we don't have a crew there, that fire, that hot spot that you were at Claremont Mesa Boulevard, maybe if, I hate to dispatch on the air, but that was an area of concern. I don't know if we have another crew there or not. But after you leave this scene, maybe you can let us know what's going on there, because that's a grave concern to the Claremont area, because the fire when you left us last had jumped the 805. So we'll check back with you in a little bit. Now, speaking of airports, Barbara Lee, last word we had from our news desk is that Lindbergh Field is still officially open amidst all of this and the dense conditions out there, but that selective airlines are not choosing to fly in and out of here.
We don't know what the overall picture is as far as air traffic in and out of Lindbergh. Only certain airlines have managed to notify us as to whether or not they are flying planes in and out of Lindbergh. I would guess at this point there's probably no air traffic coming in and out of Lindbergh, but I'm